What is up, Bucs Nation? It is Friday, September 7th or 6th. I believe it's one of those 2 days, 2024, and you are watching the Loose Cannons podcast. I am your boy Sammer, hanging out with Stank, and of course, just like I said before earlier in this week, we are now part of the 813, which is an awesome new website and network that will be providing you guys with amazing content, written articles, news updates for everything Buccaneers, all in one place on the website. You never even have to go to YouTube to watch. And of course, before I forget, make sure you guys hit the like and subscribe button, not only to this channel, but the channel that we're going to plug in the description below after we are done. Stank, week 1 is in the books for 2 teams. We are a couple of days away. Bucs Commanders at home, a home opener. I can feel it, man. I can feel it.
What can you feel? What are you smelling, Sammer? What are you feeling? What are you smelling? Let the people know.
Are you trying to do Rock Riley right there?
Yeah, it's not a good Rock Riley at all. At all. Listen,
we're going to be at
$1.
It's going to be great. It's going to be a great day at Raymond James. Is it going to come out at the end of the day? We're going to see. We're going to find out.
I was on a Redskins podcast earlier in the week, and their expectations are, they're kind of scared. They don't know what to expect, but they feel like the Bucs are in the same boat. And I guess from their perspective, since they don't follow us that closely, they don't really know, they don't understand. Like we kind of went through the growing pains last year with bringing Baker in and feeling it out. And, they were looking at losing Dave Canales as a big thing. And I'm like, well, pump your brakes a little bit. I think Dave did help Baker kind of get his feet back under him again. Like, great quarterback coach. Don't think he's that talented of a play caller personally, but maybe he was handcuffed because the interior of our line was so terrible he couldn't do what he wanted to do. We will see, right? We'll see what old Dime Piece is really about now that he's a head coach. But I'm excited to see what Liam really brings to the table. I don't know if you saw his press conference. His energy is the best, bro. Yeah. Like he came to the fucking table. He's all fucking disheveled and shit, sweating.
Yeah, he's a perfect football coach, man. I'm telling you, he doesn't seem like he's so focused and dialed in on football. He doesn't worry about getting dressed. He doesn't worry about organizing, his notes, and then everything's just a mess around him, which is fine because that means he's dialed in. He's dialed in on football. So that brings us to our first point I want to talk about, which I think this is an opportunity for the Bucs, who've heard about this for 2 years now and have heard about it more than anything else in the offseason. And they've even mentioned it themselves more than anything else in the offseason, which is the run game, Stank. I think this is a really good chance for them to come in week 1 and deliver a message that we are no longer going to be the worst rushing attack in the NFL. We are no longer going to be pushed around up front. I'm not saying that you should take the Washington defensive line lightly, but I think this is a prime opportunity for the Bucs run game to shine and come out there, punch people in the mouth, punch the NFL in the mouth, and, kind of reward themselves for all the hard work and the focus that they've been putting on fixing the run game, not just from Liam, but to all the guys underneath him, and obviously to the guys on the field, the Graham Bartons of the world, the Tristan Wirfs, the guys like that who are like, we are better than this. Now we have the right guy calling the plays. We have the scheme adjusted to make it work. We've got Rashad. We've got Bucky. I think this is a chance for them, Stank, not only to shine, but I think they will shine in the run game.
And if they don't, we've been here before. That's what I like about the makeup of this team. Like, this offense, pretty much every piece on here, despite not having a run game, still was able to win some football games, still was able to be successful. So adding that incredibly huge tool to your repertoire, you need a big tool like that. And we've been dealing with kind of having a half-size tool.
Not only that, it's been like a flimsy tool at times, right? It's not always ready to perform. No. But now I feel like you said, we have a big tool in the tool shed.
Yeah, there's no magic pill. Despite what everybody thinks that you can just show up and go out there and get the job done. You can't do what you can't do what you don't have, right? You can't just pretend and then show up and be like, hey, here it is, here we are. So now that it's a whole different animal now, right? We've added more girth. We added more attitude, more confidence.
A little bit more to beefy up front.
Things. Yeah, beef, right. So, but I don't expect that Liam's just going to be like Dave was and just try to ram it in there just because it's part of his offense. He's going to be smart about it. You gotta see how things open up, right? When it's right in front of you, you got to see how it presents itself, and then then you attack.
You've got to get a lay of the land, right? You got to understand what you're dealing with. And you gotta finagle your way in there sometimes. You gotta be, there's gotta be a little bit of finesse. Like, and with this run game, I think you got some speed, you got some power now. You got a little bit of both in both of these running backs, even though one guy's a lot bigger and thicker and he's really gonna shove it down, right? And then you got Bucky, who's kind of a change of pace, change it up, how we're running the ball in terms of the speed of it. And I think the Bucs are also they're not showing this right now, but I think that the Redskins or the Commanders are going to be a little surprised by the tempo the Bucs offense is going to carry, even after a run play. When people think tempo, they're thinking passing the ball down the field, 2-minute warning type of scenario, a 2-minute offense. But that's not necessarily going to be the case. I think the Bucs are going to find a mismatch that they like and just not let you sub. And as long as they don't sub, you don't get the chance to sub out. So I think watch for Liam to use that in the run game to where we got numbers. We like our blocking scheme. We like the guys that they have in if they're smaller guys up front and you can push them around. Then look for them to kind of capitalize and use that run game to their advantage and take advantage of those smaller guys up front. I don't know how Washington's going to rotate their guys. I don't know how Dan Quinn's going to run his team on the defensive side of the ball, but in my opinion, I think that this is for the Bucs to really showcase what they've been working on, to be able to run the ball. They don't have much on tape. Commanders don't have much on tape for themselves either, but you kind of know what Dan Quinn's going to do. You have an idea. And even though they have added some pieces, they made themselves a little bit stronger in the offseason, brought in guys that know his terminology, know his defense, know how he likes things done, so he has some coaches on the field. But again, I'm just going to revert back to, I think the Bucs have made this such a point of emphasis. Rock told us this earlier in the week. He said it a couple of times on the 813 TV's video updates that he drops, that they've just been so focused on running the ball. Chris Godwin, Mike Evans, everybody on the team, not just the guys involved in the actual run game. They want to run the ball, right? So, Stank, you know how it goes. Playing physical is how you win the game.
And we have physical receivers. So it a little bit puzzling that wasn't made an emphasis early on, especially in the past regimes. We all know Bruce was a crazy man, right? He just wanted to take the top off, be aggressive, get big chunks. Running game was always secondary to him. And, we had some success, I would say. Down the stretch, playoff run, Super Bowl run, we were able to actually run the ball better.
Ran the ball.
But I don't care, honestly. I'm glad that we have that ability, but I'm hoping, Liam, we don't need to prove it to anybody, right? We don't need to go after their strength. I still feel like we go after their weakness. That's what a good offensive coordinator should always do. That's what Liam was, that's the world he came from. We talked about this ad nauseum, right? How come we can't scheme guys open? How come everything comes so hard, right? How come we have to earn every yard? And then we see Cooper Kupp out there get schemed open, just on a consistent basis. Like, how the fuck did he get so wide open? Well,
but Stank, to the other point of that, I'm not saying they're going to run the ball 25 plus times.
No,
I think that they'll be able to run the ball effectively and efficiently to where they'll get over the 100-yard mark as a group, if not even just individually with Rashad. But it won't be necessarily because they're running the ball and making it the focus. It's more or less the scheme is going to allow them to run the ball. The scheme of the motion, the way they're attacking, the zone scheme, the blocking itself, that's what's going to actually open things up. We've been a good run stopping team on the other side of the ball for so long, but we've seen games where teams like the Rams, teams like the Colts, other teams like that focus on the run in that time, force it down our throat, and we couldn't answer. So everyone can be beat if you know what you're doing. It's about executing at that point.
Again, knowing what you're doing, right? Not trying to run out of these tight formations all the time and try to be bigger and better than other teams when you're not, right? You don't have to have 12 personnel and bring all the hats to the party and try to eke out 2 yards and always be behind the chain. It's not smart football. And despite that, we still had some success. And a lot of that was on Baker, breaking the pocket, making some big plays. and the fact that our receivers can just out physical guys out there. So you hope it's a good marriage now, right? You hope we don't have to force things, that it comes in the natural flow of the game, that Liam understands and throughout the season gets better at it, because nobody expects this guy to hop right in and be a Hall of Fame level OC besides you. Nobody expects that. So there'll be a little bit of growing pains, I'm sure, especially going up against a guy like Dan Quinn, right? That guy's seen it all, done it all. He probably, understands the way we want to attack them. Just like a lot of teams are using our same style offense trying to attack. So this is a good test for us. And I just want to see what we are, really. This is a really good test for us. As far as our offenses versus their defense. Other side,
it'll be nice to see us kind of, I don't want to say reward ourselves, but kind of like prove it to ourselves that, we've earned it. Like when you go to the gym and you don't step on the scale for 2-3 weeks at a time, and then you step on the scale and you're like, hell yeah, that work paid off, that kind of scenario. Now, if we flip it now to the other side of the ball, right? We're talking about, running the ball, being physical. I don't know really. We haven't seen a lot in preseason, right, Stank? Especially from the defensive side. We didn't really see all the starters play together. So I'm curious what we should expect from the defense in this first week.
I'm curious too, because Bowles can be ultra aggressive and ultra conservative in the same game from series to series, which is also frustrating to watch at times. And only he knows why he's doing that. And so I'm wondering if he's learned from his past mistakes, right? We should have the full repertoire of guys available to him now. Safeties he trusts, corners he's chosen to be starters, right? We have, probably a more stable group up front than we've had in a little while too. Yes, we have young guys that have to prove themselves and need to show up like JTS, but no excuses. You're facing a rookie quarterback, right? Rookie quarterback, new system, new running back, and they've got talent, right? But they're not like the most scary offense as far as receiving core is concerned. Their tight end room is okay. They got Retread and Eckler, and then I forget the other the running back they have, Gibson Robinson. So Gibson. and then a rookie who's an unknown right now, because he hasn't really seen an NFL defense other than the one he's been practicing against every week. So this will be a big test for him. Bowles is going to try to confuse the kid. Can he do it? Is that going to be enough? Are we going to be able to contain him, get pressure on him, not let him get comfortable back there? Because if he's comfortable and he's able to kind of do what he wants and use his legs to hurt us, then we could be in for a long day defensively too.
It's a happy balance I think Todd has to find, right? Because if you send a lot of blitzers, you kind of give a rookie quarterback an easy way to read the defense, because he's just going man on man, right? And he just has to kind of find the right spot and find the hot read, and it makes it easier. And rookie quarterbacks have said in the past, like when guys are in zone and there's a lot of things going on, and I can't tell if it's cover 2 or cover 3, if I don't understand what I'm looking at pre-snap, that's when I really get confused. But when a guy blitzes me, it kind of simplifies things. It takes a lot of guys out of the equation. I don't got to worry about this linebacker in this corner and this safety. But I think back to what you're saying about him being, soft and sometimes aggressive, all in the kind of the same breath. I think last year he didn't have confidence in the corners he had. And I don't think he had confidence in the pass rush. And I don't think he had confidence on the back end behind those guys. I think now with Jordan Whitehead, different ball game, right? I think that the corners could play more comfortable knowing that the two guys behind him were going to have their back, and not just one in Antoine. You have the best safety in the league in Antoine. I think you're going to have the best safety tandem at some point in the season with him and Jordan Whitehead. They play well together. They communicate silently, all those great things. And I think now Todd can maybe dial up a little bit more of that man press and kind of, get aggressive. It's a rookie quarterback. He hasn't seen a lot. He hasn't seen much at all, if anything, really. So confusing him up front and making him bail on the play, I think has to be the recipe, right? Because that's what these guys want to do. He's dynamic. I think he's going to be a stud one day in the NFL, honestly. But right now, first game of the season against Todd Bowles' defense, exotic look, likes to be ultra aggressive up front with how he has guys floating around the line of scrimmage. You got to get him to where he's naturally going to want to run and bail. And once you do that, you got to get him down. I think the Bucs have the guys on the, in the middle part of that defense that can pull those moves off. And maybe he uses JTS as a spy, Stank. Maybe he takes him out of the equation of trying to get guys down in the backfield and just spies them around. You got speed with Kalijah. You got Yaya. JTS is fast. Like, you've got all these guys, I think, that are playing the Bucs' favor, man. Honestly, it's a rookie quarterback, so it doesn't say a lot, but still, you got the pieces to stop a guy like this, regardless of his feet.
It says a lot. The expectations in this particular matchup are on us.
Yeah.
There is no expectations in Washington. We expect to win this division. We expect to go on a playoff run. We expect to be competitive. Hopefully, peak at the right time and chase another ring. That's not the case over there. So the pressure is on us, and they need to play like a team who's worthy of those type of expectations. You just don't know, though, right? Because every season's a new season, every group's a new group, all those things. But from a leadership standpoint, we've got the leadership here. We've got the guys. We've got the camaraderie. They know each other. The confidence level.
Did you say camaraderie?
The camaraderie, yeah, yeah. Like they've
broken bread together.
They have. They've been crumbled. They've broken bread. They've got that camaraderie, and that's something you earn. That's not given. That's something you've earned. You got a lot of guys still in this locker room with Super Bowl rings, who play with the GOAT, who know what it looks like, and yet we're still being doubted. And I think this whole team probably feels that way. Like, keep doubting us. We still got to go out there and prove it this week. Now there's no more time for bullshit. You got to go out there and you really got to show up and show out and put your stamp on them. Yeah.
And speaking of stamps, we got a few rookies that are going to be playing in this game. And some of them are actually starters. I got two, I believe, day one starters in Tyke Smith and obviously Graham Barton. Then we got guys like Jalen McMillan, who's technically a day one starter as well. He's wide receiver 3. This team is set up roster-wise that wide receiver 3 is technically a starter. Then you got Bucky Irving. So a lot of guys that I have circled that I'm excited to see. You still got Chris Braswell, who's going to see his time rotating and has a chance to possibly take JTS's job or prove to the Bucs that they don't need to worry about bringing JTS back no matter what that price is. So, and then, of course, JTS is playing with a chip on his shoulder on top of all that, wants to prove it himself, but he's not a rookie in this conversation. But in terms of rookie Stank, which one of these guys you think has a chance to make impact from day one, week one in this particular matchup? Is it Jalen? Is it Bucky? Is it, it's obvious Graham Barton kind of is the easy answer, but which one of these guys are you looking at day one, Sunday, first, home opener, make an impact, man? Like kind of we saw last night with the Chiefs. They had Xavier Worthy had an end around turn into a touchdown. Then he had another touchdown late in the fourth quarter. In limited touches, but impact, right? So which one of these guys do you think has that kind of potential this Sunday?
Graham aside, it's Tyke.
Wow. Okay.
For me, I mean, Jalen's a third receiver, so he's still down in regards to what you expect him and what kind of production you expect out of him. Although I think him and Baker have a pretty good chemistry already. I think it's pretty clear. But it's like he's got to produce right away. He's being forced into that starting role. He's taking Izzian's job. He's going to be on the field a lot, and they're going to try to make things easier for Jalen as far as scheming. I'm assuming there's going to be a lot of movement, a lot of boots and tight ends out in the flat and receivers out in the flat, and that nickel's got to show up and tackle and be smart, and that's essentially what he's known for. So I think this kid has to have a good game. I think he really does. I think a lot will fall on his shoulders, and I know a lot of people don't expect that. And then I'm going to name somebody that you didn't even list, because after watching that game last night, it dawned on me who Devin Culp is now, right? You see Isaiah Likely, same size essentially. Culp's faster. He ran a 4.47 at the combine. Weapon. That's all. That's the only word you hear when people describe the kid. He's a weapon. He's not going to unseat Otten.
I don't think he's going to play that much. That's the thing. I just don't see him having that many snaps. But you never know. Maybe not. You never know.
You don't know. So he could be like a deep, deep, dark sleeper that you're not even considering, that Washington's not even thinking about, and a kid who could come in and maybe do a little something, just like a big hybrid wide receiver tight end. Who knows what position that kid ultimately plays? And you can do a lot with that because he's a mismatch for any corner. He's a mismatch on a linebacker running a 4.47 with that kind of speed. So maybe he's a secret weapon.
Yeah, you saw you mentioned Tyke, right? And it points to, the way they're going to play, the way Todd is, that he's going to have himself a handful of plays where he's blitzing, where he's in the run game, he's getting his nose dirty. It's going to be, you're going to see him on the field, and it's going to be fun to see. And to your point, is a great point. I didn't think about it that way, but yeah, the bootlegs, the little screen passes, things like that, where they're trying to give easy one read type of deals for the young quarterback. He's going to have to come up big. He's going to have himself an Izzian type of game, like what Izzian did in Minnesota last year, week 1 as well. On the other side of the ball, though, because you did take my guy there, I want to say Bucky, man. I know Jalen McMillan is an exciting one. I do think he ends up scoring, and he's going to have himself a handful of packages like what the Chiefs did last night with their rookie wide receiver, who's more touted and getting way more celebration and whatnot, draft day and whatnot. But I think McMillan does have a chance to score in this game. He's going to get a couple end around, some little gadgets, maybe wide receiver screens, things like that to get him in, moving around. And remember, he said his whole purpose in training camp was to get Baker to trust him. He wanted Baker to trust him because he knew if he got that, then he was going to do well on the field. He understands his role. He's understood his role when he was back in college, but he's been the guy before, and he's going to be a mismatch when Chris and Mike are stealing all the attention. It's going to happen. But back to the guy I was actually going to talk about, which is Bucky. I think Bucky, it's no surprise to me that they didn't really do much with him in the preseason. They just kind of ran the ball with him. But I think in this game, he's going to get his chances to be the guy, not only running the ball, Stank, but I think he's going to get passes. He's going to come off the backfield on little swing routes. He's going to have a screen pass or two, maybe line up wide. Again, something that we haven't necessarily shown in the past. Liam hasn't shown it in the preseason, and this kid's an unknown rookie. Not unknown necessarily as no one knows who he is, but we don't know what he is. No one's seen him play. So Washington might not even know what to expect from our packages with Bucky, and I think he has a chance. He has a chance to take a screen, to the house. Honestly, I really think that they're going to mix him in around. That speed is a really good way to get the defensive line that's rushing against you, trying to get sacks, to slow down, right? How do they pin these guys back a little bit, slow them down? Use a guy like Rashad, obviously, but you have a guy like Bucky who can sneak around a little bit, easier to hide behind these big bodies. He'd be fun to watch. I think he has a potential to be a game breaker in week 1.
Best 1-2 punch we've had in quite a while. They both bring a little something different to the table. Both good inside runners. Rashad being a physical specimen, and I always tell people, like, you got to see this guy in person. He's a big kid. He's a big guy. Bucky, not so much, but he's
plays big, instant
torque, right? Instant speed. Just a guy that runs smart, runs behind his linemen, and just gets those extra yards. Always falls forward, all those things, and is definitely a weapon in the pass game. We'll see. We got to see how Liam, uses them, like who's getting the third down play time. We don't know. We ultimately don't know. We assume that Rashad's going to get the lion's share of the touches and carries, but that may not always be the case. Maybe he starts out that way. Maybe they do it by series. We don't know how this guy ultimately likes to use his personnel. I know he did say that he's been in 3 back rotations before, didn't like that. So I do think that they'll both get a healthy amount of touches. And yeah, how can you not be excited about Bucky? He just only looked good in the there wasn't anything negative about Bucky's play in the preseason games.
The only thing that would maybe, I tell Bucs fans to temper their expectations from how many plays he's going to get is they don't know how his pass pro is going to be against a top level, defender in the NFL. So that's going to be the thing. You're not going to have a guy like Baker saying back there, you just paid him on and bring him back and have a rookie mess it all up, right? So they're going to try to pick their spots with him, in my opinion, and try to, negate that scenario from playing out to where, or they have something built in where he can get out of that play quickly in terms of Baker to where, it's not left up to Bucky. But ultimately, he's going to have to figure that out, right? He's going to have to prove to them that he can pick up a blitz and he can protect his guy. He's never shot away from contact when he's running the ball, so I think he's going to figure it out. But to ask him week 1 to, we're going to play you 23 plays, that's pretty crazy. I do think they're going to ride with the hot hand, though.
It's not like they don't know. They've seen him on film. They know what kind of pass blocker he's been in college. They've seen him now through training camp, and they've seen him now in the preseason. So I think they have probably some idea of how willing and how intelligent he is, as a blocking back. And you just got to let the kid either shine or fall on his face a little bit. We know Rashad's capable, but Bucky may bring a little more juice, on third down than we've gotten from Rashad in the past. We just don't know. They're both weapons, different types. You might see both of them in the backfield at some point.
That's what I want to see. But I think people don't realize that when you have a guy like that you can bring in and you can give Rashad a little bit of a rest, Rashad can stay fresher throughout the season. He can stay fresher throughout the game. He's going to be more effective. You're not going to have as many, lulls in the run game. That I'm not saying necessarily was all his fault last year, but that's just how, if you get guys that can complement how you play and give you a chance to sit on the sideline a little bit longer, you're going to be more efficient. You're going to be more effective. And Rashad has a chance to be a 2,000-yard guy as an overall, like in terms of his output.
Yes.
And that's crazy. And when people say, "Oh, well, you're taking him off the field with Bucky," that just means he's going to be more efficient and more effective because of a guy like Bucky able to come. We had such a drop off last year when Rashad wasn't in the game that Rashad had to play so many downs, and you're like, at some point he can't. Like, it's too much. It's just too much to expect. So it'd be good to see that.
You might not want to say it, but none of it was Rashad's fault. I'm going to say that. Not any of it. They can say, "Oh, he wasn't being purposeful." He was dancing a little too much,
indecisive, things like that. But I agree with you saying if the hole's not there, what is he supposed to do?
There's a reason he was running that way. Okay, there's a reason for it. No back really wants to have a guy right in his face as soon as he touches the ball, and that was a pretty consistent theme throughout his career here in Tampa so far. So giving the guy a little bit of room to work, some forward momentum, you're going to truly get to see what he's good at and what he isn't. And he is that smooth Le'Veon Bell type back. Le'Veon wasn't getting hit in the backfield. He was able to
stand sometimes. He sometimes just stood back there and waited, dude. But they were blocking for him. That's what mattered.
Right. So I think it's going to benefit everybody involved, right? Give Baker an extra second, make a decision. Give the backs a little bit more room to work. All those things are beneficial. Can we get that kind of push against one of the better interior defensive lines in the league? We'll see. We'll see. We saw also what Chris Jones did last night. Some poor rookie guards, right?
Oh my God.
I'm sure those rookie guards in preseason were like, "Man, we got this." And then they line up against a guy like Chris, and they look like they don't belong in the NFL. So hopefully we don't see anything like that. You just don't know, though.
You don't know. I mean, look, Graham Barton's not going to just be the only rookie offensive lineman who's never had a problem, right? I mean, even Tristan had a couple of hiccups his rookie year. That Chicago Bear game was not a good game for him, but he figured it out. And you're going to expect Chris to go, or not Chris, you're going to expect Graham to go through the same thing. He's in the middle too there, where they're going against arguably the strength of the teeth of the Washington defense. So he's going to have to learn to lose a couple and win more ultimately, and just not give up the killer play. And that kind of brings us to the next point, which is I have it says Baker Mayfield Redemption Tour 2.0 question mark, right? Last year, everyone kind of threw Baker away. Baker is supposed to be, a garbage. He's supposed to be this Band-Aid that we're using to get to Caleb Williams. We're not supposed to win more than 2 or 3 games. He goes out there, puts his head down, earns this, quarterback competition, wins a quarterback competition, goes out there, takes his team to an NFC South title, punched the Eagles in the mouth in the playoffs, almost beat the Lions. Ultimately, we lose. He throws an interception to end the game. But now he's back, and he's still being doubted. He still has a chip on his shoulder, Stank. He has an entire team that's ultimately being written off. Now it's the Falcons, apparently. Even though Kirk Cousins has never been the guy in anybody's eyes, he gets moved once to the Falcons. Now all of a sudden he's Tom Brady or Aaron Rodgers or Matthew Stafford when he went to the Rams. Like, all of a sudden he's the savior. It's like the Bucs collectively have a chip on their shoulder, but now again Baker does. And so how do you think Baker plays week 1 on Redemption Tour 2.0 against a team that isn't expecting to win a game in terms of the Washington team this Sunday, but still having to go out there and prove himself? And again, remember, a lot of people have said that Baker's year is because of Dave, not because of Baker. And so I think he has a little extra motivation this week because of that.
I said this on the last show. I love Baker's energy. It's almost like, you're an NBA guy. That quiet confidence, which is new for him because he's more of a look at me type guy. He is arrogant. I think Drew Brees called him what did he say? I saw somebody tweet earlier today. Called him I don't know. Essentially just said he was brash and it's a little bit different kind of feel right now. Like this is his team. This is his town. That's his locker room. He's got a coach that he had a hand in bringing in here, calling plays that he's familiar with, that he knows he can be successful with. The chemistry, I think it's all there for him. Being a dad, like everything just maybe has fallen into place for him. So you like that, right? You know that oops, I said the wrong fucking thing right there. You don't like that, but you love it. You love seeing that. And you want that kind of confidence in the huddle, in the locker room. Like it's almost like that boxer, bro, who's got his punch back. He's ready to go out there and knock a motherfucker out. And that's what I feel like Baker is turning into, maturing, has proved to himself. That's the most important thing, that he belongs again. And look the fuck out, bro. He was a first pick in the draft for a reason, has had success, has won championships, won all the awards, was a handful of plays away from competing for a Super Bowl last year. Why wouldn't he be confident in himself?
I mean, he's played so many seasons in the NFL where it's kind of been on his back, right? And then last year, it felt like 3rd and 8 every single drive. And it's like, all right, Baker, go pull a rabbit out of this one again. This year, you got Liam, like we talked about earlier. He's going to make it easier for him. He's going to give him more answers at the line of scrimmage. Liam talked about that earlier in the week. I think it was yesterday at one Buc. And so it's not going to be, I got to go out there and be the guy. And then the maturity factor, understanding when to be that, rambunctious, rowdy guy, the shit talker on the field, the whole get your weight up, all of that good stuff that he comes with, but understanding when to balance that and be a leader, when to be calm and just kind of live within that moment and live to play another down. Him and Liam together, and now a run game, hopefully, that they put together on top of that, is going to make Baker's job so much easier, but it's going to be less pressure. And it's a lot to say that 32, quarterbacks exist in the NFL for a reason. Probably the most pressure-packed job anyone could have in terms of, a sport. I'm not saying, guys who work on construction or bridges aren't, got a lot of pressure, but at the end of the day, it's going to be, I think, the least amount of pressure Baker's had to play with. And like you said, man, he's got a kid now. It's a little bit different. We had kids. We didn't have problems jumping off roofs. Now you have a kid. You're like, yeah, probably not going to do this today. Probably got a little bit more to lose, right? So that brings you down to a different mental state. You start thinking like a dad, and you start thinking, yeah, let's do it. Yeah, don't win this play. It's cool. Just throw it out of bounds. He said
my daughter's going to see how I act, right?
She's going to see me throw an interception when I shouldn't have. I should have just thrown it out of bounds.
You met my daughter. She's embarrassed by me, and she sees all the things I do, and she's the only reason I'm not going further than I always do. Like I'm kept in a box. I have to hold my crazy in, and I do it for my child. And it's probably made me a better husband, better father, better co-host on this show, I think you would say. So I feel like
I'm embarrassed by you daily. And I'm not even really in your vicinity physically daily. And yet I am still embarrassed by you on a day-to-day basis. It's pretty wild, man, honestly. And so, great point.
It's like a superpower, bro. It really is. I don't know.
But being a dad, Stank, comes with superhero. Yeah. It comes with superpowers, right?
You're your child's superhero, unless you're a piece of shit deadbeat dad. And if you are, turn this podcast off. I don't want you watching it. Go fuck yourself.
This is not a podcast for deadbeat dads. But while we're talking about that, make sure you guys hit the like button if you're enjoying this episode. Leave us a comment on what you think possibly happens with Baker this weekend, or who you think would be the rookie that's going to have the most impact, or what you think you expect this defense to do to Jane Daniels this weekend. And of course, don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you are new. We're not done though. Don't worry. We still got more coming here. Stank. Listen, we're going to be in the building. Okay. It's week 1, home opener. It's a little bit different. Bucs don't really win too many home openers, but I think we're on a little bit of a streak. We've done well recently. This is I don't expect this to be a tough game necessarily. A lot of new pieces, new head coach, new quarterback. He's a rookie, new defensive scheme, new staff all around, new guys coming in there. They're trying to fix, a pretty terrible situation in Washington. They got new owners there. So a lot of stuff that's new that usually means the team that's got a little bit more continuity has a chance. So curious to hear I don't need 3 necessarily, but maybe a key to victory and a score prediction for this Sunday, where we will be in the building at Raymond James, 4 o'clock. Probably going to be raining like always it is in Florida. It's rained at 4 o'clock every day for like the last month now, on the dot almost. So keys to victory, Stank, and score prediction, man.
Keys to victory.
It could be one key as well. It doesn't have to be keys necessarily. Because I know your brain is a little slow.
Main key to victory for me is just don't overthink it. Okay? Don't overthink it. You guys know who you are as a team. Every team has uncertainty right now. I think the Chiefs had some uncertainty last night. So don't overthink it. I think you just go out and do what you do well. And we already know what we do well. We don't really need to re-identify. We just add to our repertoire and go out there and win this football game. Jaden Daniels is a talented quarterback. There's no reason to make it easy for him. You don't have to get crazy exotic and put your defense at peril. So I hope while Bowles is aggressive, he doesn't try to do too much, because I know they're going to keep it simple for Dayton. So knowing that, you should probably have a good idea of what their game plan is for his first ever start in the NFL. We're not a confident bunch, Bucs fans, right? Except for in one game, the Super Bowl, we're the most confident fan base, and we should be, because we dominate Super Bowls. It's not even close. Like, I don't even worry about it when we get to the Super Bowl.
Once we're in, we're going to win. Yeah.
Right. But every other game, because of my PTSD, I do worry, and you just don't know, right? Football's a funny game. Ball bounces weird ways, turnovers, all kinds of different variables that you can't account for. But we should win this football game. So that being said, score prediction, 31. I think we get back on the 31 track, right? I think it's 31-9. 31-9. Why not? That's a good score. It's a friendly score. It's a score I'm familiar with. Score that makes me feel good. So let's just get in 31-9 right out the bat, start the season. Bucs fans love that score. So I'm going to say 31-9. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers over the Washington Redskins.
Yeah, listen, great. Yeah, pretty good at that. That's one of your best answers that you've ever given in the history of the Loose Cannon, Stank. Just a little, one. That's one. 2.
I've been getting better too. You should see what I've been doing in the offseason to get prepared for this season, right? We just started a new fucking venture. If you don't know about it, get on board. The813.tv. Go to the website. It's incredible. It's beautiful. There's so much fresh information, fresh articles out there, fresh content every day, every single day, new stuff. It's not filled with a bunch of clicky bullshit. You're not going to get pop-ups in your face to try to sell you shit you don't want. It's just pure Bucs football coming from people who love this team, by the way, right? These are everybody who's speaking on this are Bucs true and true. I think that's a little bit of what's different about, and there's a lot of good stuff out there. You don't have to choose, by the way. I consume it all of it. I love all the content out there. I love all the content creators. I love all the media, all that. We're just bringing something different to the table. There is no competition. Check out what we do. We love it. We're doing it because we love it. That's the only reason.
The reason it's different, Stank, is that on our site, you can read the articles. But if you don't want to read the articles, just watch the videos. Our writers, not only are they writing, but they're also creating videos that you can just absorb within 2 minutes, get the information. And if you want a little bit more, you go in there, go through the rest of the site and read the actual articles that are a little bit deeper dive. So we keep it to where but we got a lot of stuff going on in our lives, right? We don't have time to read 4 or 5 minute, articles anymore. We don't have time to read essays. So let's just get the information, keep it moving, that type of thing. And that's what makes this site so fun, and what this, what we're going to be creating so fun too. Last night, we debuted Inside the 813, which is a really cool rotation-based show where all the writers and the content creators on the 813.tv can hop in and out week to week, do the same 3 topics, and talk about the week that was and the week coming up every single time. It's an awesome show. It's probably one of the coolest things that we've come up with. Beside all the other stuff with the loose cannons, we got Fully Loaded. We got NFL-based betting show. We got an NFL, insider show with Benjamin Albright, Jake Arian. So we got a ton of cool stuff. So make sure you guys check out the website and make sure you guys also subscribe to that new channel, which is youtube.com/the813TV. Hit a subscribe and hit a like, leave a comment on there. Help us grow that channel so that thing can be massive and we can continue to offer really cool stuff that YouTube gives us to offer, as well as what we're going to come up with. But now back to my key to victory, Stank. Okay. My key to victory is just start fast. Just start fast across the board. If we get the ball first, go down the field, run the ball, pitch and catch, whatever you got to do, get into the end zone, not a field goal, start fast. Then turn around, hand it off to the defense and be like, hey, go play with the lead against a rookie quarterback who's never seen an NFL defense in his entire life outside of practice. The preseason didn't count. You got Todd Bowles dreaming up stuff. He's got one of the healthiest rosters he's had in a while on the defensive side. He's confident in the guys on the back end. He's pretty confident with Zion McCollum and Jamel Dean. And he's got monsters on the defensive line. Okay. He's got an alien at one side. He's got a guy who hasn't eaten in 4 months in the middle, who pushes men like they're children. Okay. And I don't know about you, Stank, if you ever pushed a child, it's hilariously fun. And so imagine how much fun Vita's having out there pushing grown men, making them feel like children. And then you got Kalijah Cansey. I mean, coming off an entire offseason, healthy training camp.
All right. I feel like you've done that scene in Billy Madison where he goes and plays dodgeball with all the little kids. I feel like that's your wheelhouse right there. Just hurting children, not too much.
I coach both my kids' basketball teams. Okay. The older one, Kobe, he's in that 10-year-old bracket kids. If you tell me that when we're going through the 2-3 zone and we let a guy in and I'm in the middle trying to teach them what to do, that I'm just letting him get a shot, I'm blocking him. I'm stealing the ball. And like you miss a free throw, I'm throwing the ball at your head and you're catching it and you're going to make the next free throw, or you're running laps. And that's not even like a joke. Okay. There's video evidence of me doing this. So yes, absolutely.
You got to go set a hard pick on a 7-year-old. Sometimes you got to show him, right? Like you can't don't come into
this is a pick. I want you to learn what a pick is, right? This is a pick. Right. Yeah. These kids are terrified. When I get into the scrimmage, they're terrified. And that's the message.
There are no sharp edges in their life, right? There's shows about dogs like Bluey. They don't bite or kill anything. Like they're not allowed to watch violent things anymore. And they just come in there all passive, right? No. Mom's going to put some Bactine and Band-Aids on it. And so it's your role as a coach.
My job.
Your role as a teacher in this world. Right. You have to physically impose the lessons on 100%. This new generation. Take 100%. That for however you want, right? Take it however you want. But we're big physical imposers here on the loose cannons. I think you guys know that. I'm
gonna have to drop like Samurai Ali's parenting book at some point, Stank, right?
Dude,
like the real truths of life, like the facts of how to raise kids, right? And I'm gonna have to do it. It feels like it's gonna have to happen. But
how many in the chat right now want and would buy and would go to like a signing where Samurai? I could just see him doing a book signing. How many want to be there? Bring your kids, bring your wives, maybe. I don't know. Yeah.
I mean, if you got a kid who's a softie, all right, he's a little just garbage, he's a terrible kid and doesn't have any, you can't figure it out, bring him. I'll give him a couple lessons, all right? I'll throw him into a wall. He'll learn. I'll knock a bookshelf down on top of him, and he'll walk out of there saying, Dad, you know what? I think I could be better than I've been. And next thing you know, that book is already paying off, okay? Now, back to my key to victory. Okay,
wait, this is the true story before you get fast. To your key to victory. Before you get to your key to victory, I have a grandchild, as you know. He's 135 years old. Somehow was reincarnated to this world, still old. And my wife, she's like, oh, it's my grandbaby. And dude, like I'm in WWE, any chance I get to absolutely throw him around, and just the wrestling moves that you did in the backyard as a child, just suplexing him onto the couch. He can't even walk yet. He can't tell me if he likes it or not. I don't really care. I'm throwing bows at his giant head. He's got an absolutely enormous head.
Yeah, so that head is an absolute unit, dude.
It's a weapon, bro. That kid's got a bonk on him.
He somehow has a helmet as a head. Yeah.
Doctor said he needed a helmet because poor guy got a little flat head in the back. It's like he's got a little oblong head. Like, whatever. You got to be different in this world. And he's definitely that. He's got me as a grandfather, so you already know.
You got to toughen them up, man. Young age. Start no baby talk. Just like, the minute they can hold a pencil or a pen, you start having them accompany you to doing your taxes, right? Yeah. Accounting, homework.
I remember the first time you ever met him. He's got these, crazy blue eyes, and you and him got in a stare down, and you said, "Fuck you," right to the baby. And I was like,
never lost a staring contest. So I wasn't about to lose it to some fucking child.
Yeah. At first I was like, that was a little much, but as the time has gone on, I'm like, I feel like he learned from that moment.
So now when he's like 7 or 8 years old and I come around and he sees me, he knows immediately who the fucking dog is, right?
Yeah.
He's not gonna...
How many babies do you do that to? How often do you say fuck you?
I don't think I've ever seen a baby and not just looked at that baby's eyes at some point, whether the mom is looking or not. I'm like, fuck you. Just
fuck you.
Fuck you. Just like that. And like they'll remember it subconsciously at some point.
They will. They're sponges for that kind of information, aren't they?
That's when you teach them. They tell you they're sponges for a reason. That's why that's when you take advantage. So anyway, key to victory. That has to be in
the book. That's a key to life.
That's a free lesson I just gave you guys. One of the chapters completely for free.
Key to life. You're a key guy. You got major keys. What is your key to victory?
I just said, listen,
Hammer, what is your key to victory?
Listen, guys, here it is, okay? A key to victory this Sunday, it's got to be starting fast. You got to start fast. Rock loves going fast. I love falling fast. That's why they call me Rock. But listen, you got to be fast. You got to start fast. You got to let the defense pin their ears. And Todd Bowles loves to get down, loves to get dirty, and he loves to get exotic, right? Get fast, start fast, let the defense pin their ears back, and put Daniels in a massive whirlwind of confusion. The Bucs will get some turnovers as a result of that, and the ball game just kind of unrolls after that. It's pretty simple. In terms of the score prediction, Stank, man, I hate to predict that we won't take a field goal, but I don't like this fucking kicker. So I think we win the game 28-12. 28-12. Pretty solid showing, and I think Baker throws for 3 touchdowns, honestly. I think Baker has himself a day. The offense is humming. They run the ball effectively, efficiently, not necessarily 20 times or 25 times in the game itself, but when they do run the ball, they make it count. And Jalen McMillan puts on a little bit of a show, a little bit of a Xavier Worthy type of day at Raymond James. It's going to get sloppy, though, in the beginning there in terms of the weather. I think it's going to be a sloppy field, but I think the Bucs, being that they're in Florida, they're going to be ready. They're going to have those cleats ready. And I think as long as they start fast, they have a really good shot at really just kind of coasting through this game. Not to disrespect the Commanders, because I do think they have a good head coach who's a good defensive coordinator, knows his way around defense, has some pieces on that side. But Bucs are just going to be too much connection to the roster, too much continuity to overcome for a team like the Washington team who has no real expectations. So 28-12. Bucs win. Baker has himself a day. Jalen McMillan has himself a day. And, my fantasy team does fucking well because of it. So, that's it. I want to remind you guys again, if you don't know, we started a media company this week. We launched The 813 is the name of it. The website is the813.tv. You can find all of our shows on there. You can also find Fully Loaded on there. You can also find Inside the 813 on there. A bunch of shows, a bunch of video content, a bunch of articles from real writers. And of course, Rock Riley is our beat reporter. So you're going to get some actual coverage as well as the nonsense that we bring. Make sure you hit that website, check it out. And of course, don't forget to subscribe to our new channel that we're building because of that, which is the 813 TV on YouTube. And of course, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button here. Correct us if you don't agree with anything we said today. And leave us your thoughts, your comments, and if you don't like Stank, let Stank know that he's a terrible human being, which is not uncommon, right? And if we get enough of these comments that make fun of Stank, maybe I'll remake my famous yelling in Stank's face gif that's become famous worldwide. So I think it's only right that we do that, Stank, because the last time I did it was at a home opener against an NFC East opponent, and here we are, home opener. NFC East opponent. There it is. It's there. It's all for the taking, Stank. It's got to happen, right? I think it has to happen, man. So the more comments we get hating on you, the more likely I'm going to do it.
I feel bad for those people who hate me because I'm genuinely, I just want to be your friend. You know, I know you guys don't have friends. Most of you guys out there watching the show right now don't have any friends. We're here for you.
We're kind of their friends.
Yeah, we're your friends. I'm your friend. You see me out on the streets, come on over. Give me a hug. Let's have a talk. You know, you see me at the game. Don't be afraid. I see people look at me all the time. I was in Dick's Sporting Goods the other day, and I had the most awkward stare down with a stranger.
They were trying to figure out who you were.
We like caught eyes with each other, and I was like, it was almost like a Curb Your Enthusiasm thing. We're like, both of us back and forth with each other. And finally, he's like, I know you from Twitter. I was like, oh, hey, how you doing?
You have a face though.
It wasn't a good. I know you from Twitter.
Oh, yeah. You have a face where like you don't really have to. You know how some people you're like, where do I know that guy from? You have a face where like, boom, I know exactly who this guy is. Right?
I don't know.
Pretty recognizable.
Out of the three of us, I get recognized the least. You look like a fucking villain regardless. So people just are attracted to your face for some reason. And then Latte's this big teddy bear. He's hard to miss that guy. And we could be walking. Nobody even sees me. They see you guys instantly.
Yeah. Well, anyway, for all you guys going out to the game, have fun. Make sure you guys are fucking loud. Okay, let's make sure these Washington Commanders, Washington football teamers, whatever they're called, the Redskins, remember that no one walks into Raymond James, and they respect us on the way out. Yeah, of course, respectfully. Don't be a piece of shit like Philadelphia Eagles fans or whatever. But hey, last home game we were at, Stank, it was us beating the living shit out of an NFC East opponent in the Eagles. So here we are, gonna have ourselves an afternoon, in my opinion, and we'll see you guys Monday night, 7:20. And we're going to break down everything we saw and everything we hated and everything we loved and all of it. So until then, go Bucs.